I've got a lovely bunch of tow floats. Hi, my name's Rachel Andrews. Welcome to Everyday Athlete. Now, it's been rather an odd week this week, I'm sure everyone in the world would agree, but I've decided to continue making my videos to hopefully bring a little bit of light and amusement in a world that seems fairly full of doom at the moment. This week's video is going to be about tow floats, because there are lots of different things to think about when you're trying to choose a tow float. So I thought I'd try and make that choice a bit easier. What is a tow float? Well, as you can see, there are plenty out there, and I'm going to go through a little bit of an explanation first. So a tow float is a brightly coloured, generally inflatable item that you tow behind you for visibility. And in an area like this, with a little bit of boating, some fishing, some windsurfing, lots of stuff going on in the water, it's really good to be seen when you're out there swimming. I tend to use a tow float every time I go out, especially in open water. I wouldn't use it so much in a dipping capacity if I'm just in and out of the same spot, because there's probably no traffic there and it's not such a worry. But certainly if I was in a lake environment or perhaps transiting down a river, I definitely want to be seen, and especially if I was to get into trouble, I want someone to be able to spot where I am. Most of my swimming is done on the sea. I swim along from a beach, and in the area I live on the south coast there's quite a bit of traffic. I mean, I don't go swimming right out into it, and I generally would swim along the beach, but it's still good to be seen. One thing a tow float isn't though, it's not a life-saving device. If you're in need of personal buoyancy, either for confidence reasons or because of the conditions you're in, it might be that you're bobbing about in quite a bit of waves, or there may be some other reason you want personal buoyancy, don't rely on a tow float for that. You can get plenty of different buoyancy aids on the market to kind of buoy yourself up if that's what you'd like, but certainly a tow float isn't that, and they're not sold as that either. What I thought to look at here is the absolute variety we've got out there for tow floats. No matter what kind of swimming you do, in what environment, there's a tow float for you. So I'm going to take a little look at the features now. The most basic model of tow float has it's just a bubble of air that you blow up that floats behind you for people to be able to see. That's the kind of thing you might need in some events. They sometimes insist on having a tow float. And that's the most likely type that you would use. It'd be unlikely, if you're doing an event where it's competitive, to want to tow anything behind you that's any bigger than the minimum requirement. I don't have a straight up pure bubble one here because I thought that's fairly easy to explain, but I do have quite a few interesting ones to walk you through now. One thing I did want to mention is it is not as easy as I'd anticipated to blow up the inflation chambers without using your lips. Obviously in these days it's not good to be putting my breath inside of those, which I borrowed from the companies, so I'm using one of these, but it's not as simple as I'd expected, so they're not as inflated as you would get them with your own mouth. This one's brand new out this week from Swim Secure. It is the Tow Float Elite, and it has two chambers to blow it up, which makes it slightly more robust than a single one, given that if you end up with a puncture in it, it will still work with the other chamber, so you'll still be visible. The thing this one has is a little pouch, a little pocket here, mesh one, to pop your stuff in. It doesn't hold stuff dryly inside, but you're able to put your drink or snacks inside this if you're training. This is the Restube Swim, a really interesting product in that it has a gas inflation mechanism which is triggered by this little handle here. So you wear it around your waist. You can decide how you want to wear it, whether you want to have it horizontally like this is set up, or whether you want to thread the waistband through so it sits vertically, kind of like that on your back. So taking a look here, what I'm going to do is pull the release, see what happens. Okay, that's continuing to inflate. So what I now have here is a kind of rescue sausage. The idea being that I can just rest over it, or I can just leave it to hold in the water so that somebody can see that I'm in trouble. So good idea not to touch the canister, because as you can see the CO2 has frozen the little bit of neoprene there. These are rechargeable, and you can just pop another cylinder on the base. So after just a few seconds there, it has completely inflated and it's really pretty solid. This is the Swim Secure hydration float. It has 2 chambers to be able to blow it up, making it nice and robust in the case you have a puncture. And then it has this pouch in the middle where you can store your snacks or perhaps your drink. Being a hydration one, I'd want to pop my drink in there. It does have a hole to drain out, so you're not going to just be dragging lots of water should you end up in the waves. So certainly a really nice way to carry a drink. And if you've seen any of my videos earlier, I did one where I was struggling to work out how to carry drinks and things. And I'll pop a little image up here of the solution I came up with, but this is certainly a lot neater. This is the Swim Secure Toe Donut, and what we have here is a float which has 2 blow-up chambers and then a dry bag on the top. So quite a big dry bag as well. You can see it comes all the way around to the edges, so the entirety of the inside of that donut is actually somewhere where you can put your stuff and keep it fairly dry. What I wouldn't do with any of these dry bag toe floats is I wouldn't put my valuables in there without them being inside a second item, be that a clip lock box which is waterproof, or another kind of dedicated phone dry pouch, which is what I use. This is the Puffin Billy Eco 15 toe float. It is a float which has got a single chamber which you blow up just here, and it takes your valuables. So it's a dry bag. You need to wrap this over 3 times before you clip it together to ensure the stuff stays dry. But very interestingly with this one, it is compostable. So when you've finished with it, you can cut off the clips, cut off any plastic parts, and then pop it in your composter and it will biodegrade. Puffin said to me when I asked them for some more information that they are going to make a larger version, and I'm really looking forward to that one coming out. This is Lomo's dry bag toe float with additional flag. So looking at the toe float itself, we've got 2 chambers here and here to blow it up. We've got the dry bag element, which interestingly has a gaiter to maximise keeping your stuff dry. And then on top, of course, we've got this flag. The flags are interchangeable. There is a different one for if you are snorkeling or scuba diving, which would be the Dan flag, the red and white flag. Now this is Lomo's Swim Run toe float rucksack. The interesting thing about this is that it is a dry bag. I mean, I've inflated it for vision purposes, but when you're wearing it, it wouldn't be blown up. So 2 chambers to blow it up, but it has a removable rucksack element. So just using the clips here, you can take those off and pop them inside the dry bag. And then you've got the towing part here. So I think this is a really great idea because I quite often carry my stuff to my swim in the tow float, and I must admit I have been quite lazy in the past in that I've just clipped it up and held it like that, but I've damaged my tow float doing that. So this is a great addition. I really hope you enjoyed my video this week, and I'd like to give a big thanks to the manufacturers who supported it: Swim Secure, Lomo, Restube and Puffin. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to make this video. If you have enjoyed it, please consider subscribing to my channel and also giving the video a like. Drop me a comment about things you'd like to see over coming weeks, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye!